Hello, everybody who's joining. My name is Susie Fitz. I'm a marketing associate here at Dotdigital, and I'm just going to give everybody a couple more minutes to settle in and, click the links and join. Um, but as we're doing so, I just want to say good morning, good afternoon if you're on West Coast time, or I'm sorry, good morning West Coast time, good afternoon East Coast time. I'm here in Boston right now, but our HQ for Dotdigital is in New York. I'm just here for the long weekend, and I guess I made it a little bit longer. Yeah, so as everyone comes in, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. I just wanted to do a small plug for the Digital Summit Roadshows. These are customer events that we are currently taking across the United States. Our last event is in June. It's in New York City. You'll get a QR code at the end if you want to read some more info about it, but it's essentially like taking our .live info and all the topics that our customers want to hear about and bringing it to you in person so you can meet our partners, you can meet our experts here at Dotdigital, ask face-to-face questions, things you've been wondering, maybe about the platform or maybe about trends. And it'll be a great event. It's our final one in New York. It's our biggest one. So if you can join, there will be a QR code at the end for you to scan. A reminder to please fill out the survey questions at the end. This feedback is super important to us. We just want to know if we're doing a good job and if the content that we're giving you is, the most informative content you can get, and what you want to hear in the future, so we can make it the best for the rest of the year. These are monthly Digital events, so make sure to tune in every month. And then finally, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat at any time. They will be sent to me. Nobody else will see them, I promise. No question is a stupid question. And this is a reminder that anybody who asks the best question, that will be decided by our presenters at the end. We'll get a $25 lunch gift card on Dotdigital, Uber Eats or DoorDash. I'll decide later. And we will choose that at the end. So ask your questions throughout and I'll make sure they'll get answered. And then finally, just to make sure everyone's awake and paying attention, let's do a little poll. I'll pull it up. A little gamification poll. Here it is. And I'll send it out. Really just doing what we said, what we're talking about. And launch. All right, I'll give you guys a sec to fill out the poll. What is your favorite engaging gamification format? Interactive quizzes, spinning the wheel, virtual treasure hunts. I did put polls and didn't change it on the actual slideshow, but polls. And then, I don't know, that's why I'm here. I think that's a great one. I'm going to give you one more second to answer, and I'll close it. And I'll share it with everybody. 100% of people said spin the wheel, and I think that's a great answer. That's my favorite too. I think we're gonna dive into that in just a second. I want to make sure you guys can still see my screen. Yep, perfect. And we will get started with a quick show. Sorry, everybody, too many screens today. We'll get started with a quick agenda. Here it is. What's your favorite? Oh, here it is. Welcome and intros. We've got Quoc Nguyen from preezie, and we've got Brianna Martinez from Dotdigital here today. They will be presenting on gamification and everything in between, from data collection to all those fun polls and quizzes that you could potentially do. Hey Quoc, hey Bri.
Hello, hello.
Hey Susie.
Hello. Let's get started with Miss Brianna Martinez.
All righty. Thanks, Susie. All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am marketing strategist for the US team here at Dotdigital. I work with customers of Dotdigital to really partner with them and become an extension of their marketing team in order to really drive the business goals and advanced strategies to really drive revenue and acquisition. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you all today about gamification. I think this is definitely not something new to the industry, but definitely something that is becoming a more common strategy as we continue in this ever-evolving digital landscape. So I want to get into the basics. So what is marketing gamification? Essentially, it's the application of game design elements, techniques, and principles in non-game contexts to engage and motivate audiences, promoting desired actions and influencing customer behavior. Essentially, it creates a memorable and unique customer experience that's relevant to your business. It provides an enjoyable, interactive, and rewarding engagement between your customers, but it's also mutually beneficial. You obtain increased customer engagement and conversions. It's a huge loyalty driver and also enhances the brand awareness within your target market. And you get to collect zero-party data. And if you're not familiar with zero-party data, that is any data shared willingly by contacts or subscribers, customers, what have you, such as through a survey, a sign-up form, or within an account profile. Collecting zero-party data eliminates that creepy factor that customers can often experience with a brand. And although consumers are wary of handing out their data, they're definitely willing to do so. So for a customer, it must be an exchange where they get a reward in return. And our customer loyalty report found that the top motivators across all age groups were to claim the sign up discount or offer upon sign up, to hear about future promotions, and to become part of the loyalty program. And notably, 41% of Gen Z also chose curated content as a top motivator for signing up to a brand's newsletter. So if a customer shares that data with you, reward them by using it to make their experience even better and even more personalized. So why does gamified marketing work? It really goes back to consumer psychology. People are more likely to complete a particular activity when they have fun doing it. In fact, 60% of consumers are more likely to buy from a brand if they enjoyed playing a game with it. The key elements that make a gamified marketing tactic attractive to consumers is because it creates a healthy competition among peers and other brand loyalists. Earning valuable rewards has immediate intrinsic benefits because it gives a sense of tangible accomplishment from an intangible experience. Daily challenges and the chance to earn extra rewards gives a sense of personal progress as well that is enjoyable to the consumer. And by not participating, it creates a sense of FOMO, which all of us, whether we like it or not, we all want to avoid. Overall, gamified marketing provides a unique and enjoyable experience to the consumer, which translates to positive brand association. So let's get into some different types of gamified experiences. First, starting with prediction games. These can be a great way to break the ice among your audience by inviting subscribers to make predictions about an upcoming event or product launch. You can create a buzz of anticipation and friendly competition. This interactive approach is not just fun, but it also provides valuable insights to you into what excites your target audience. You can then use this information to tailor future events and offerings to better meet expectations and keep your customers coming back for more. Quizzes can also be useful tools for creating a dynamic way to engage with your audience. You can create quizzes that align with your product mix, brand personality, or simply to just learn more about your customers. Quizzes can not only educate customers about your brand, but also collecting marketing permissions for future outreach. Quizzes can also foster a sense of community and loyalty, ultimately driving excitement and brand loyalty even further. Unique product recommendations proactively cross-sell and upsell for you at the same time. This personalized approach to product promotion makes the customer feel like they received concierge treatment, creating a positive online shopping experience in the comfort of their own home. Polls are another quick and easy way to gather feedback and understand your audience better without disrupting the user experience. You can ask questions about their favorite products, preferred use case, or even suggestions for future products or events. Polls are not only informative, but they can also be a fun way to interact with your audience. And they're mutually beneficial as well because your customers customers are engaging with your content and you're gathering data and insights on the zero-party data they're giving to you. Spin the Wheel is a classic game that we're all familiar with. I'm sure whether you play them at places like carnivals or you watch Wheel of Fortune, you've most likely come across this game before at least once in your life. And scratch cards are widely used within lottery tickets. You might have bought one at least once, but in marketing, these gamified experiences build up that anticipation to discover the rewards hidden beneath. You can use these tactics to promote a seasonal sale, rewards, or just provide coupon codes for anticipating that next purchase. They seem fun to play with and give users something fun to try outside of the typical acquisition process or average customer life cycle by surprising and delighting your audience with a unique experience for both newcomers and existing brand loyalists. Utilizing dynamic countdown timers in your marketing campaigns can also be an engaging way to build anticipation and maintain momentum leading up to a big event or launch date. By including a dynamic countdown timer in your emails, on your website, and in your social media stories, you provide a real-time reminder of just how soon the special date is approaching. This helps keep that event at the forefront of your audience's mind, encouraging that excitement and anticipation. As the countdown progresses, potential customers may feel a growing sense of urgency to buy, plan for a product or ticket launch, or share their plans with friends. This can lead to increased sales, higher engagement, and greater word of mouth marketing. And those countdown timers can be tailored to each user too, providing a personalized experience around the event. For instance, if a user has already purchased a ticket to a concert, let's say, the timer can be adjusted to highlight a different aspect of the event, such as days left to make use of a special discount on merchandise or to a sneak peek at the event lineup. Running contests or giveaways is a great way to boost engagement if you ever see your numbers dipping. Using a competition format, you can get customers to engage with your brand on various platforms such as social media. This not only encourages them to engage with your marketing for a chance to win, but it also turns them into ambassadors, helping to amplify your brand to their followers who may be unfamiliar with you. Simply having customers follow your brand on social media and other channels goes a long way toward keeping them engaged over time. And digital treasure hunts, one of my favorite type of gamified experiences. Really, what it comes down to is engaged customers are good for business. They have stronger, more emotional connections with your brand. The more engaged they are with your brand, the more they're going to spend with you, ultimately having a positive effect on your bottom line. A unique way to drive loyalty is through a gamified loyalty program or a digital treasure hunt with simple challenges for your customers to complete based on the actions that you want them to take. With this type of loyalty program, you're adding value to every interaction a customer has with your brand. This helps make them more invested in your brand and see immediate value in interacting with your brand across various channels. If they don't shop with you or follow your social media profiles, they could miss out on additional value that they could earn. Maximize their fear of missing out, the FOMO effect, by implementing a loyalty program like this that'll boost their long-term engagement and keep driving them back to you through a unique gamified experience. Now, let's get into some tips and best practices to keep in mind. I think when we're approaching any type of digital strategy, we should always keep in mind that we should be optimizing for mobile experiences always. And these games should be fun, relevant to your brand, and offer enticing rewards. You want to make sure that they're really providing value, they're redeemable and actionable rewards for producing a next purchase. You want to make sure to strike a balance between the level of difficulty. So if a gamified experience is too easy, users could quickly overcome those challenges. But if they're too difficult or take up too much time, a user will be demotivated and just simply not want to participate. So it's important to have an objective and ground your strategy in that goal. So don't overdo it. Really strategize about when it is a good idea to gamify an experience, and connect the games always to a conversion activity or data collection strategy. Then utilize that robust zero-party data that you've collected in Dotdigital in order to drive repeat purchases and actively communicate to your subscribers when the iron is hot. You really want to make sure that all of these personalized gamified journeys are connected to automations or personalization tactics within your marketing communications. So really think about how you can enhance the personalization strategies based on the new data that you've collected, and connect participants to an applicable automation to continue that conversation via email or SMS to drive sales and long-term loyalty.
That was awesome, Brianna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just takes me a minute to come back on. Now we will move into our fireside chat with the co-founder, Preezie. Hello, Quoc. How are you doing today?
Hi, everyone. I'm great. Thank you.
I would love to give you a moment to just do a little introduction on yourself and what Preezie is.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Quoc Nguyen, co-founder of preezie. Effectively, what preezie is, we specialize in leading retail technology solutions designed to help brands deepen their customer connections and personalized shopping experiences. So by incorporating interactive tools and gamifying that sort of shopping experience, we enhance customer acquisition engagement through guided shopping journeys and collect effectively zero-party data to personalize the shopping experience. So that's what we do. From my personal perspective, as you can tell, I'm originally from Melbourne, Australia, but have just recently relocated here to the US and based out of Denver, Colorado, and effectively just working with retailers and brands to expand our presence here in North America over the past 18 months or so.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you guys are the perfect thought leaders to talk about gamification. You know, Preezie creates that for us. So I just want to emphasize that Preezie is one of our amazing partners. So if you're interested, we can dive deep into that at some point too. Feel free to ask questions about it. So let's get cozy. Here's our fireside chat. And I just want to start off with, given that we've already established the definition and the importance of gamification in Bree's presentation, could both of you or either of you elaborate on the role of maybe segmentation in creating effective gamification strategies or campaigns?
Yeah, I can take this one. I think any data that you're collecting from your consumer or subscribers or customers, what have you, can be stored as a data field within the Dotdigital platform. So when you're building segments, essentially any data point that you're collecting from your subscribers can be used as a segmentation tool. So whether that's based on product interest or preferences, what have you, anything can be added to those segmentation builders. So really the possibilities are endless as long as you're really taking advantage of collecting that data and storing it properly. I think every data point is actionable when it comes to segmentation.
Mm-hmm. Quoc, did you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just think that it's capturing that data. That's the important part. And there's two ways of doing it, right? You can do it via sort of like inferred purchase history, browsing history, what people are spending their time looking at things, or you can actually ask the direct question, which is what Preezie as a business does, and you're asking about their personal preferences, what color, what style, what size, et cetera, and it's using that data, as Brianna said. You can store that data. You can it allows hyper segmentation, and when you're capturing that data and segmenting it, you can personalize the marketing efforts a lot more a lot better.
Yeah.
The one
I
thing
think
that I think a lot of marketers, including myself, forget a lot of times is, you can think of segments as buckets of contacts, and there's specific attributes attached to those specific buckets. And you don't have to just choose a couple segments here based on, the products that you're speaking to, or just whatever segmentation strategies that you currently have in place. But really, if you're utilizing the data that you're collecting on your customers properly, you're going to have tons of different types of segments based on that data. So really, you can kind of cherry pick each and every type of segmentation bucket, I guess I'll say, to really make sure that you're communicating the right message at the right time to the right group of people. That is the key of any like good digital marketing strategy. So as long as those customers are really resonating with that content, which is where those unique and personalized data comes from, then I think you've got a fantastic strategy going on. But don't be afraid to kind of just load it up on the segments, as long as your customers are fitting within the content that you're speaking to. I think the possibilities are really endless in how you can utilize, or the level to which you can utilize segments.
I love that, Brie. It's endless possibilities
It
when we've got
is.
awesome strategies. So I think like to bounce off of that, like there are so many routes that brands can take when it comes to gamifying an experience. Like Brie, you gave so many different examples, and preezie just provides like such great opportunities for that as well. I
Yeah.
think an important question for our listeners is how can retailers determine which elements of gamification best align with their brand and or their audience expectations?
Look, for me, it's based on your customer personas. So you got to really target to your audience. If you've got a younger audience, whether it's male, female, you've really got to speak to that audience. And what that strategy entails depends on what those personas are. So working with some of our customers, the ones that have a younger audience, we encourage the interactive online quizzes to be fun and quirky. Make it engaging, because you're speaking to 18 to 35-year-olds, and you just got to be down with the times. So things, and an example of that could be a budget question, right? Instead of just saying how much you want to spend and putting dollar amount as brackets. We've got one of our customers that sells inline skates and scooters, and their audience is that younger audience, and they've got options of answers like dusting off the wallet and feeling bougie, and these, and it's a playful way of sort of engaging, and that's really catering it for that type of audience that they specifically have got. So it's just work towards your target audience.
Yeah, it's
I
all
agree
about
with
like the
that.
research.
Yeah.
Oh, that just reminds me. I don't know why I thought of those BuzzFeed quizzes. They were always so quirky and they would draw you in and you'd want to do every
Yes.
single quiz that they had. So keeping it with the generational lingo is really important too. Oh, I love that.
Definitely.
Bree, did you have anything you want to add before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I think, I first and foremost, it comes down to, when determining what type of gamified experience to kind of go forward with, it obviously comes down to mainly like what your customers are going to interact with most or prefer to interact with most. And that goes down to, like Quoc was saying, demographics. If you have a younger generation, some experiences may be better suited for younger people rather than older people. But also what should be coupled with that is the overall goal you're trying to accomplish, and really understanding what channel it's best suited for, whether it's just one singular channel like social media, or multiple channels where it's living on a landing page, and within your email marketing campaigns. Really understanding where it's going to live, how it's going to live, and why you want it there in the first place is is going to be key in that like secondary kind of strategy aspect once you know what your customers want.
Yeah, you have to like sit down and do the research and think about it and get it all done. You can't
Yeah.
just dive in with a random quiz.
Yep.
Okay, and I think maybe just to stay, on course of where we're going, like preezie is where I feel like where you start the
Mhm.
journey, and Dotdigital is where we bring that data. So before we like dive into all that data and all that information, you've kind of touched on it, Quoc, but maybe do you want to dive a little bit more into like how brands can use preezie to gather valuable data, through any of the activities we've discussed so far? Like you mentioned quizzes. I just didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, for our customers, it's the number of different use cases, right? You could have a large SKU range, and it's interacting and helping them sort of just navigate through that range and choice paralysis and things like that. But effectively, in an online quiz, and what we do, it's as simple as it's capturing your preferences. So we've got fashion and apparel type of customers. So it could be clothing style. But the key to this, and in line with the theme, is for today. It's about making it fun and engaging. You can't just have boring questions and they sort of just go through. It's capture their attention, and you want them to guide them through the whole sort of quiz experience.
Yeah.
And what we find is that if you make it fun and engaging, our customers see about 80% of the shoppers that start a quiz go all the way to completing it. So that's 86 out of 100 people going, okay, this is, and the gamification is, what is the product that best suits me at the end of
Mhm.
this quiz? And more importantly, it's about capturing that zero party data. So, when somebody, I think Brianna mentioned it, it's intentional, it's willing, you're proactively providing your personal details, that value exchange. So, completing a quiz, please, provide your name, email, sometimes mobile number. People do it. And, from our customers, we see that, people are willing to provide that email or personal details 2 times more effectively than just a pop-up quiz or whatnot. So imagine, knowing more about your customers, what their style preference is, their color, their brands, and their budget. So, if you're able to do that, and what we do is we've got a direct integration with Dotdigital. So all that data, that when somebody answers a quiz, it feeds straight into Dotdigital. And what we see from our customers that use this data is they capture, or they're able to generate 92% more email revenues, increase in email revenues, because they're able to segment that, hyper personalize that experience, and offer promotions that are more specific to our lifestyle, our needs, and our wants.
Yeah, no, the first thing I thought of was when some shampoo and conditioner websites do that. And once you get that data, you can also like, I don't know, segment to when they need to refill
Mhm.
their like shampoo, because maybe they're like, oh, I shower once a day, or I clean my hair every 3 days or something like that. So I love that stuff. I think it's really smart, and maybe it's the elder Gen Z in me, but I love that stuff.
I
Yeah, Bree,
think
do you
that's and yeah, I think that's a really interesting point that you made too, is that the data that you're collecting from these experiences don't just have to be black and white. It can be connected to data fields. Let's say, let's use the hair care example, and say someone took a hair quiz and they got a specific, shampoo and conditioner. It doesn't just have to be that they're a customer, the data field connection doesn't have to just be that they're a customer of this product. That can also inform your marketing decisions and strategies, because now you know additional information about their typical or expected customer life cycle. Like you said, you'll for hair care, you can typically answer questions about, how often you're washing your hair. So with that data, you can then kind of predict when their future purchases are going to come, to then be able to proactively, win them back for that repeat purchase. So it doesn't just have to, be a fill in the blank kind of scenario, but it can inform your strategy to communicate even further.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like Quoc, you touched on, gathering that zero party data through preezie in like creative ways. And so Bree, I was just curious, like, how can Dotdigital, outside of, collecting the data, be helpful for businesses who want to create like more targeted marketing campaigns? I feel like we were just getting on that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been kind of thinking about this question, while I've been looking into this topic. And again, like, the possibilities are really endless. You can combine this data that you're collecting to create really robust automation strategies, and really target your consumer at the most opportune times. You can also use it to optimize your conversion rates, and add in more personalization and um, uh, you know um, segmentation strategies in order to efficiently and effectively communicate to your customers. So, whether you're feeding uh, form responses into an automation, or utilizing the newly collected data as data points within your segmentation logic. Those are just two areas within the platform that you can utilize the data that you're collecting, but there's so many more ways that they can be utilized too. So don't be afraid to just try it out. I think that's my biggest piece of advice to marketers in general, is just, you never know when you're gonna create the newest, latest marketing strategy, and every business is unique. So what works for some isn't going to work for all, and so just test things out, and be smart with how you're utilizing the data that you're collecting. But
Don't be
there's
afraid to get creative
really
with it.
so many opportunities to kind of jump on um, those opportunities while they're hot.
Yeah. Quack, before I move into the next question, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, look, I think Brianna hit it on the head. It's capturing that data, and we all know that third-party cookies are going to be a thing of the past. So, how can brands capture that zero-party data, know more about the consumers, get those insights, and feed it into the Dotdigital platform, so that you can create these automated flows and journeys that are, really just segmented and hyper-personalized to you. I mean, I'll give you, if somebody has a certain brand preference, for example, a Nike or Adidas or whatnot, send them promotions of those brands, because they're loyal to those brands. Or you might have a dress style that suits you, whether it's loose and flowy or long sleeves or short sleeve. You want to see relevant marketing content that suits your needs. I'll give you a quick snippet of my experience here in the US. So I moved across to the US from Australia, and I was in a one-bedroom apartment. So as most people do, they've gone, quite go on Wayfair, and it's got everything you need. So it was great. So I went on Wayfair, a one-bedroom apartment. I got all my furniture from Wayfair, and it was great. But what I did get from some sort of some email marketing afterwards, was garden statues and patio umbrellas and things like that, which it's hard to squeeze into one bedroom apartment. So, are there ways for them to know something a bit more about me, personalize that experience? Probably can, but it just goes to show that if you're providing personalized content and marketing messaging that resonates with the consumer, it's more likely to convert from what we see.
Yeah, that's such an interesting anecdote. It makes me think about all the things that I would need in my tiny one bedroom apartment, like mirrors to make it feel bigger, maybe not umbrellas. I don't have an
Yeah,
outside space.
right. I mean, I think that's like the epitome of you know, what makes a marketing strategy like successful or not is the content that resonates with the customers that you're sending it to. So Quoc, like you said, you don't have a need having a 1-bedroom apartment for garden tools and umbrellas. So yeah, that kind of just really shed light into that marketing strategy in general of like, they do have or most people do have insights into your browsing history and the pages that you viewed. So even if they added like that layer of segmentation to their strategy, then I think you would have received maybe content that is more relevant to you and your situation, just based on your viewing history.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Quoc, you have some great real life examples. So, do you have any more examples of strategies maybe we've talked about that have led to higher order values or enhanced customer loyalty in any way?
Yeah, so look, one of the examples I like to sort of just use is, so there's a brand that we work with called 2XU. That's athletic leisure wear type of a brand, and for them the problem is it's not driving traffic; they're getting traffic to the website, but with sort of depth of cross web identifiers, third party cookies. They're going, how can we engage with our audience so that we can get them to convert and purchase effectively? I mean, that's what an online retailer wants to do. It's just to make a sale and convert and engage. So, what they did is they came to us and said, hey, look, one of our biggest categories was compression tights. How can we, and there's a level of sophistication and complex around that. So how can we create an online quiz, engage with our audience, and help them find the right compression types? So we did that, and in terms of the results that we saw, we improved their conversion rates by 125%. So people who go through that are finding the right product, but we also lifted up their average order value to by 51%. So questions like budget, right? You don't necessarily, if you find the right product and it's a little bit more than what you're willing to spend, but it's the right product, we find that most consumers or shoppers will tend to buy that product. So lifting the average order value by 51%. And in terms of engagement, we saw about 95% of people that went through the compression tights finder completed the quiz. So, that's a great example of sort of taking them through that gamification, that engagement, and getting them to effectively convert and increase basket size.
Yeah, I love that.
That's incredible that those conversion rates are just wild. I mean, that's incredible.
I love it. I think real life examples just like tend to stick with people during these webinars too. So that was a great one. Thank you, Quoc. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about zero party data. It's very important. We're like very much moving into it as a world. Could you suggest any best practices maybe for optimizing that data from your activities while maintaining compliance with data privacy regulations? Since those are becoming huge.
Yeah, I can take that one. I think, when you're approaching these types of strategies, you want to make sure that the data that you're collecting is relevant and immediately understood from the consumer perspective of how it could possibly be used, and act on it. They are providing the information to you in knowing that you're going to utilize that data. So it's important to actually use it and not just let it kind of sit there in your account and just collect dust. So first and foremost, collect it with proper consent and utilize it. What I think is helpful in kind of maintaining all of the data points that you're collecting is regularly review all the data points that you're collecting, all of your kind of gamified strategies, and ensure that you're fully aware of your audience and your audience personas. By regularly reviewing that information, you can maybe discover you have a brand new, audience persona that is newly emerging for your business, and kind of be able to investigate that further, for even additional conversion opportunities. But always making sure that you're following your local and national data privacy guidelines and policies, I think is absolutely key. And yeah, just making sure that you're compliant is going to be definitely necessary.
Stay compliant. Yeah. Quack, did you want to add anything to
When,
that?
yeah, I think the simplest way is like just ask for consent. So what we usually do at the end of the quiz is there's a checkbox that says that you're consenting to. And look, most people, as I said, most people with these a value exchange will provide that. So I think it was mentioned before, the creepy factor, right? You don't, in this day and age, you don't want to be using all these data behind the scenes. Make it aware. Like we, as Brianna said, we will utilize this, but we'll utilize it in the right way. And for us, it's a checkbox to ask for consent. And most consumers or shoppers, if they see there's value there and they know it's going to be utilized in the right way, will consent to that. And you've got some valuable data there you've just captured.
Yeah, and I feel like people like being asked for their consent, like just in general, even if you don't have to for like one certain thing, like people like, oh, I trust this brand a little bit more. Like they want to do it to make my experience better, which everyone wants.
Yeah, I think transparency is key there, and just being open and honest with your customers of how you're going to utilize and protect and store their data is definitely necessary, especially as we move forward in the digital world.
Mhm. Okay, now here's an important question because I know, like myself, when I find out about a new tactic, I want to dive headfirst into it and I want to put a quiz here. I want to put a spinning wheel over there. I want to put a poll in the next place. So what are some key considerations maybe to ensure that like your gamification tactics don't overpower the primary objective of your marketing campaigns? So it doesn't go too crazy.
Hmm. Quoc, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, look, I think as Brianna mentioned, like you've got to have a purpose. Like there has to be a goal to gamification. Just have a spin the wheel just for lols it has to have a purpose. So it's for us speaking to our customers and brands. What is the strategy? And I think that in particular our tool and what we do, which is online quiz, it's about the UX. So what is the user experience, right?
Mhm.
And because we use a lot of consumer behavioral psychology, it's effectively the right language to your target audience. As I mentioned, it could be an older or younger or Gen Z type audience. And what we do is we work with the brand to go, okay, you guys are experts in dresses, computers, laptops, or guitars. How do you speak to that audience? What are the graphics you want to use? What's the colors, the fonts? And it's got to be on brand. So that's the key. I mean, make it on brand, make it playful, make it fun, engaging, if the audience allows it. So it's really what is that user experience? What is the UX?
Mhm.
I agree. I think that's really key when adding any kind of new um, uh, tech feature to your website or any of your marketing materials. It's really just kind of making sure that it doesn't interfere with the user experience, and is a seamless flow as someone is interacting with your marketing communications or within your website. It should be mobile optimized, because as we're only getting further and further into the mobile trend, majority of people are surfing the web on their mobile phones, and converting on mobile as well. So having a friction-free from a technology standpoint, and also just kind of behavior flow is also key. And like Quoc said, just making sure it's on brand for and makes sense for a number of different reasons. On brand and makes sense for your branding and your business type, makes sense for the customer life cycle and the products that you're selling or services that you're selling, and also just makes sense for the end goal that you're trying to achieve. So really just going back to the basics of what are we trying to achieve? Are we trying to drive acquisition? Are we trying to drive loyalty? Or just are we trying to drive data collection? It can be as simple as that, but then the type of gamified experience that you choose also needs to make sense. So I think just kind of really relevancy and making sure it resonates is definitely important there.
Yeah, no, that's so important. And I think we have time for a couple more questions before we move into the Q&A. This has really been interesting so far. We're so far in, it's just flown by. I think one of a good question would be like, are there any particular industries that you've seen gamification work particularly better in or exceptionally more successful in? I know Dotdigital works with a ton of different industries. I know preezie works with a ton of different industries. So I'm just curious if you have any insights on that.
Yeah, look, maybe I'll tackle this one, Brianna, first. So, like, we work with a lot of fashion and apparel, fashion, footwear, apparel type brands. Obviously, lifestyle, activewear. I think there's a certain push in terms of what is the function rather than the application. People are looking for functionality, activity-based type of things. So, am I going for a run, yoga, etc.? What is this good for? And occasions like weddings and things like that. So there is a lot of those things, and gamification lends itself to that because you're purchasing something for a cocktail event or whatever the case might be. So that works really well, but we've also seen industries with highly considered sort of purchase and high AOV. So, for example, furniture, mattress businesses where it's you only purchase a mattress once every so many years. So there is a level of high consideration, and when you go through the gamification, go through an online quiz to help you find the right product, we certainly see that working quite well as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Great.
I think generally, it's most common to see gamified experiences within marketing for e-commerce brands, like very generally, right? Um, and then kind of even further than that, I think it works very well for B2C or D2C companies where they're speaking directly to that consumer. However, that's not to say that B2B companies or companies that are focused on engagement rather than conversions don't apply to this strategy, because they absolutely do. Everyone knows their business best, so that's going to come down to the key stakeholders on the strategies that you'll put out there. But I do think generally those e-commerce D2C brands really thrive with those type of strategies, and also with brands that have a variety of product ranges and use cases. So, like your hair care companies, like we've talked about, vitamin companies, also like skincare companies, specifically thinking about quizzes in mind, right? Like you're able to kind of figure out what the specific attributes that your customer is looking for when shopping your brand, and be able to deliver that specific product based on the answers provided. It is going to be super useful for those kind of businesses that have a lot of products with a wide, variety of use cases.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Like the possibilities are endless, and I'm seeing strategies that are so unique, that are really kind of like breaking out of the mold of what we're typically seeing. So I challenge all marketers to really kind of think outside of the box, because we're just having more and more strategies and capabilities available at our fingertips, and there's like so many possibilities and opportunities out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking like I do event marketing for Dotdigital, so I'm thinking like as an event in the event space when I was doing research for this dog live, something that caught my eye was like quizzes or polls of like, ooh, who do you expect to see at this event? Like maybe it's a concert, and people just get like so excited about that. So like I do fear it's not limited to just like e-commerce and
Right.
retail brands, but